The aphantastic reader, seeing stories with a blind mind's eye. Sounds pretty intriguing, right? But what does it actually mean? Have you ever stopped to think about how someone could read a really descriptive book and not see a single image in their head? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Okay, so let's try a little experiment. I want you to read this sentence with me. She walked through a forest of emerald green, the ancient trees forming a dense canopy overhead. Just let that sink in for a moment.
So, what just happened in your head? Did a picture just flash into your mind's eye? Maybe you saw the deep, rich green of the leaves, right? Or the rough texture of the bark. Maybe even the way the sunlight was dappling through the canopy.
Okay, now, I want you to imagine reading that same sentence, but this time you see nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. No pictures, no colors, no light, just the words, the information. That right there is the inner world of what we call an aphantastic reader. So we're entering a world without pictures. And look, this isn't just a matter of preference, like choosing audiobooks over paperbacks. It's actually linked to a neurological condition that fundamentally changes how some people process the world around them. The official term is aphantasia. It basically means you have a blind mind's eye. So for a lot of us, if someone says picture an apple, an image of an apple just appears, right? But for someone with aphantasia, the result is, well, it's a blank screen. They know what an apple is, of course. They can tell you it's red or green, that it's round, that it has a stem, but they can't actually see it in their head, not even for a second.
So that brings us to the big question, right? How on earth can someone with aphantasia get lost in a good book? I mean, if reading for most of us is like playing a movie in our heads, what's it like when you can't even turn on the projector? Let's figure that out.
All right, to really get this, let's set up a scenario. 2 readers, 1 book. They're reading the exact same words on the page, but what's happening inside their heads is worlds apart. So for most of us, when we read, we're creating what researchers call vivid mental simulacra. It's a fancy term, but it just means we're building a rich sensory simulation of the story. It's like a VR experience in your brain. You're not just processing text, you're actually seeing the characters, maybe even hearing their voices, feeling the chilly air in that spooky castle. But for aphantastic readers, it's a totally different game. It's been described as interpreting the squiggles on the page. Now that might sound a little dry, maybe even cold, but it's really the starting point for a super deep analytical journey. Instead of a visual show, the entire focus is on cracking the code. What do these words mean?
And this is where you can really see the 2 paths split. The visual reader, they're lost in that mental movie, completely immersed in the sights and sounds. The aphantastic reader, on the other hand, finds immersion by building a kind of internal database, a list of facts. They're not seeing the emerald forest. They're logging the data. Fact 1, forest exists. Fact 2, it's green. Fact 3, trees are ancient. So the focus naturally shifts away from sensory details and onto things like character relationships, the logic of the plot, and that leads to this incredibly deep conceptual understanding.
So let's dig a little deeper into that idea of interpreting the squiggles. What does that actually feel like from the inside?
Okay, this is the absolute key to understanding it all. It's not about seeing, it's about knowing. Think about it. An aphantastic reader knows a character has red hair because the text said so. That's it. It's a piece of data that gets logged away in their brain. Character X, red hair. They don't need to picture it to know it.
And the whole process is actually pretty systematic, kind of like a computer running a program. Step 1, you decode the text on the page. Step 2, you log the key facts and details like we just talked about. Step 3, you start connecting those concepts, building a logical web. And then, step 4, and this is so important, you get to the emotional truth of the story. Because when you think about it, emotion isn't something you see. It's a concept. It's about relationships and consequences. You can absolutely understand that without ever needing a mental image.
This brings up a really fascinating idea. Truths beyond the image. I mean, what does the truth of a story even mean if you're not picturing it? Well, for a visual reader, there's something we can call visual truth. It's all about the accuracy of your mental picture. Does the character's hair match the description from chapter 2? Is that scar over their left eye still there in your mental movie? Your brain is constantly working to make sure that visual rendering is consistent.
But for an aphantastic reader, the truth is conceptual. It's about the logic of the plot. Does it make sense? It's about the consistency of a character's actions. Would they really do that based on what we know about them? It's about the power of the story's theme, the weight of an emotional moment. The truth isn't in the picture,
It's in the strength and integrity of the ideas.
And this quote just nails it perfectly. It's about understanding the truths of a character's life through abstract logic rather than visual immersion. It's a completely different road for sure, but it leads to the exact same place, a deep, powerful, meaningful connection with the story.
So, when you step back and look at all this, it kind of forces us to rethink what imagination even is.
What this really boils down to is that there is no single correct way to experience a story. Our inner worlds can be wildly different, and that's not just okay, it's amazing. Aphantasia isn't a bug in the system, it's just a different operating system. It's a perfect example of neurodiversity. It's not a lack of imagination, it's just a different kind.
And that's really the bottom line. Whether you're a vivid visualizer or you have aphantasia, both groups can get to that same place of deep story comprehension and pure enjoyment. The roads they take to get there look completely different, but the destination, it can be just as rich and just as rewarding for both.
So, what does this all mean for us? It means we have to expand our definition of imagination. It's not just about seeing pictures. Aphantasia shows us that imagination is also about building entire worlds out of pure concepts, understanding characters through logic, and feeling the emotional punch of a story through its abstract truths.
And that leaves us with a huge question to think about. Is imagination something you see, or is it something you understand? When you close your eyes and imagine, what's really happening? Are you seeing a picture, or are you grasping an idea? For most of us, it's probably a mix of both. But knowing that for some, it's entirely one or the other, well, that's pretty mind-blowing.